Hello and welcome to the Crystal Stairs Resource Center Learning Activity. My name is Tandra.
And my name is Lupe.
And today we shared too many tamales. And so, Miss Lupe, I wanted to just share an activity that parents and caregivers could do at home with children.
Yes, this activity, I'm just eager to see. There's a lot of interesting things here.
Yes, so as you were commenting before we started, you can actually smell. So this is a simple way to expand your Play-Doh center or your Play-Doh table. So I actually went ahead and pre-made the Play-Doh. You don't have to make it, but I do feel like it adds a different experience for the children when it's homemade Play-Doh, and that's actually part of the activity. But I did want to mention you can buy Play-Doh if you don't have time to make it. We will list the ingredients on the screen so that you can get the recipe. And then, Ms. Lupe, I did want to let the audience know that we actually have a video of us making Play-Doh. So if you wanted to see that, go back and watch the Big Green Monster video where we made Play-Doh from scratch, so you can get an idea of how to start that process. Have you ever made Play-Doh?
Yes, I did. When I was a teacher back then, I used to love, because I love the texture and filling all the ingredients to put in the Play-Doh.
Yes, I actually enjoy doing this with a live group of children too. One thing I'm always being mindful of as we present these activities is just to remind you to know your group. This is a very fragrant Play-Doh. So if you have children who are still very sensory motor and they're going to want to eat it, you may reconsider how you present this activity. So,
and I also wanted to add also for providers, make sure that before you actually add extra ingredients for the seasonings and all of that, just make sure you make that your children do not have any allergies.
Absolutely. Because
we want to make sure that they're safe at all times. But this we've already presented it because we want to make sure, and these are really, it smells so good.
It really does. So in the book, Maria makes tamales with her family. And so we wanted to just encourage you all to put out some materials, some items that children can do like a pretend cooking. So you want to grab some of this?
I sure do. Oh my God, this.
So what I did was I just added some spices and I put them in here just so you could see. We have some ground ginger, some cinnamon, and some allspice, and this is pumpkin spice seasoning. So like Miss Lupe mentioned, know if you have any children with any allergies or any sensitivities to anything, so that you can avoid any issues with that. But if you have no allergies and your children are ready for this kind of experience, just go ahead and mix in the dry spices with your flour and salt when you're making your Play-Doh.
Yes, and I see that you have all these art equipment here, little play materials.
So these are just our Play-Doh tools that will actually facilitate them in their pretending to make whatever they want to make. It doesn't have to be tamales like the book. It can be muffins or cookies or.
And one of the greatest things that I used to as a teacher too, and it will encourage you all out there, is to make sure that when you're doing these activities, to incorporate the families, because a lot of the families, what they do is they have traditional equipment or materials they use in the kitchen, and you want to put it in the area, just kind of like show and tell, but also as part of them using it, because this is what they see in their family using the equipment in the kitchen. So for example, this was very relevant to me because we use this. But we use it comes in a different form, and we call it a molcajete. It's made out of rock. And when you add these things inside the area of the kitchen, the dramatic play, it really brings that connection with children, like, oh, my mom uses that. Yes. And you want to make sure that you build those conversations.
Absolutely. So you made a really good point, but I want to point out these spices. I just gathered some spices. This is some dried mint. This is what you're smelling, the allspice, and some cinnamon sticks. I always say know your group. So you need to know if your children are developmentally ready for this type of experience. If you're concerned that they're going to be trying to nibble on it or may possibly put it in their mouths, do not do this part. But you did bring up a good point with the I call this a mortar and pestle. You said it's a molcajete?
For us, it's a different version. It's called a molcajete, and it's the same thing. It utilizes to kind of mash the spices, correct?
Yes. And so if your children are ready for this, I actually put some of these in here, and they can actually do this to incorporate. So this is good for their motor skill development, and you can put the spices out. They can use these little star anise and actually decorate their Play-Doh. I think the point is there's no right or wrong way to do it. The only caution I would give you is to just know your group. So I think it's really fun when you're incorporating the actual dried spices. Sometimes children don't have opportunities to really participate in this part when their parents are in the kitchen. So just getting the chance to use the tools. And this actually requires some muscle here.
Yeah, some strength.
But as you break it up, you can actually smell the spices being released.
It smells so good.
So this is just one of those things that you're going to put out in the area and let the children explore and see which way they want to go with it. They can add so I'm going to take some of these and add them to my little Play-Doh here. So I did this one time with a group of children, and they actually made a whole bunch of little mini cakes. And then when the parents came, they had a shop, and they were like, buy our little cakes. And it was really fun. Yeah, so definitely make sure your children are not going to try to eat this, because it does look inviting.
It does.
And it smells so fragrant.
And for me, as I'm cutting the dough here, well, the Play-Doh, I always think about my grandmother, who always made tortillas made out of hand. So she would start off with the little ball and work her way out and start making the tortilla. As you see, it's getting shape as a tortilla. I'm not an expert, but this is handmade tortillas, and you could make sopes, you could make different things. And these are conversations that you have with the kids as you're making the tortillas. And you could give them a ball and just let them do whatever they want, because again, it's self-expression. But see how this
I love how you just did that. See?
Yes.
So you don't even have to do Play-Doh. You could actually make real tortillas.
Yes. I made tamales this weekend, but I think it's important that you allow children to do anything they want, but also when you put the materials, they run with it. They're the ones leading that activity. And I think it's important to have that conversation when we started off reading the book, that what do they like to do?
Yes.
In traditions, with their families or with their friends. What are some of the activities? This could be one of the activities that they could do if that's what they enjoy. But see, this is the tortilla that I remember my grandma used to put an apron on, and she used to make them. And it actually came out better than
good.
And then what she do is she'll lay it in a comal, which is just like a pan, and then just lay it down like this, and then it will start bubbling up, and then turn it around, and that was your tortilla, and it was so delicious.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing your experience with making handmade tortillas. It actually reminded me of making biscuits in the kitchen with my grandmother. So I think that's another thing that as parents and caregivers, sometimes you don't realize just the simple day-to-day things that you do with children are going to become their core memories, like things that they treasure when they grow up.
I think it's important to have those conversations and do those activities, but because they do take them. As you know, I'm doing this activity thinking about when I was a child and what my grandma used to do. She used to give me that little ball and she used to put it in my hand. She's like, now you make it. So these are traditions and activities that you could go ahead and do that stay with you a lifetime.
Yes, just hearing you talk about it, I could tell it was very special, and I could actually feel it even though I wasn't there with you and your grandmother. I could feel how special that was.
It was.
All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming always and staying and playing, and for helping us really start this conversation with the parents and the caregivers. So we are wanting to say thank you because this actually wraps up our first full 3 years of First Fridays. So I want to encourage you to go back to watch some of those first videos that we made and to engage with some of the hands-on activities. And as always, we invite you to share if you try any of these activities. And so I think we're all set to close out the year, Miss Lupin.
Yes, I'm so excited, and thank you so much for having us too as part of First Friday.
Absolutely.
So
this has been amazing.
It has been a wonderful journey.
All right, so we thank you, and we hope to see you here again on the next First Friday.
Bye.
Bye. Put a little exit dance.